Before I start my presentation, I want to ask you guys a question, and if you want to answer it in the forums, that's fine, and I'd be happy to discuss it with you in the forums. If you don't want to answer it in the forums, the main goal of this question is just for you to think about it when you're interacting in your everyday lives with people of the same culture or of a different culture. The question I want to ask is, do you see yourself as ethnocentric? And most of us want to say no to this, and if you don't know what ethnocentric means, it means that you think that your culture is superior to others. And the reason I ask this is because I did my intercultural speech on Brazilian culture, and one of my research methods was interviewing my friend Maria, who's from Brazil. The other one was I did some research online over the past couple weeks, but the first question that I asked Maria was, what was the biggest differences between the people of the United States and the people of Brazil that you noticed? And this may be, it's a generalization, but based off of her experience, she said that the people of Brazil were more welcoming of different cultures, which I think it's unfortunate that people, not only of the United States, but of any country, wouldn't be welcoming of a culture, because they can maybe teach you things that you didn't know. Other cultures have amazing food, so by making friends in other cultures, you can eat their food, which is awesome. And just a bunch of things. I think they can expand your worldview. They can make you less ignorant to certain issues. But to get on with the presentation, another thing that interacting with people of other cultures can do is you may see similarities in those cultures with your own. This happened for me with the Brazilian culture. They have similarities that I didn't know with my culture. They're a predominantly Christian society, which is the same as mine. They celebrate Christian holidays, Christmas, Easter big, just like here in the United States. But one of the differences between their view of Christianity and our view of Christianity is they're a mainly Catholic country, and they consider Catholicism and the other religions, or the other denominations of Christianity, as completely different religions. Like, they're not even both Christianity technically, which was really interesting to me. But one of the big holidays is a Catholic holiday. It's a pre-Lent celebration, kind of similar to Mardi Gras for us, but it's Carnival, and it's actually really famous. But the difference between Mardi Gras and Carnival are that Carnival has influences of South America and African heritage, which I thought was really interesting. Some of the differences that arise between cultures, which ultimately make different cultures, can also lead to misconceptions. I asked Maria, what are some common misconceptions that you've gotten since you've been in the U.S.? What are some things that people have asked you that, or they continue to ask you that it just kind of gets under your skin, or gets on your nerves? And she said this wasn't one that some people keep asking her, but when she first got here, one of her teammates asked her. She asked her, one, if they had Wi-Fi, and two, if the people in Brazil wore shoes, which is kind of weird to me. But she said that her teammate wasn't the brightest person, but I just think it's that stereotyping people like that is another problem that arises from not being welcoming of other cultures and communicating with other cultures. Another misconception that she said often happens is that people think that the Brazilian people live in the Amazon, and she said that that's not the case. Only the indigenous peoples or the indigenous tribes live in the Amazon, and no one else really does. And it's kind of weird to me that people would think that, considering that the Olympics were just in Rio, I think in 2016, maybe. Uh, but some key aspects of Brazilian culture are their family, food, their national language is a big one, and their celebrations, their social celebrations like Carnival, which is their biggest one. But their language is Portuguese, and they're the only country in South America that their national language is Portuguese. And because of this, they're actually Latino, and they're not Hispanic. And I didn't know this, but the difference between Latino and Hispanic people are that Latino people are from Latin America but don't speak Spanish, and Hispanic people are people who speak Spanish. And I didn't note that, and I found that really interesting. Um, Another key aspect is, and this was another difference that Maria said was between the United States and the people of Brazil. And it's that she said the people of Brazil are much more family and community oriented, which I think is really cool. She said that they would go on holiday and go to the beach together, or her and the neighbor, or her family and her neighbors would, they would have barbecues together, community barbecues, which I thought was really interesting. Um, one of the one of the main things that I feel like I should address with this speech is that, you know, number one, Brazilian culture is extremely interesting, and I think if you have the opportunity to interact with someone from Brazil or in the Brazilian culture, you should definitely take it. But if you can't, with this large foreign population that we have on Campbellsville University, you should definitely interact with somebody of a different culture. I think that you may see that they're more similar to you than you think. I think that if you don't, you're kind of doing yourself a big disservice, and you're missing out on a big part of life. I mean, there's a huge world out there, and people that may be interesting to you, or aspects of cultures that may be interesting to you, and just by communicating with your normal friend group and hanging out with your normal friends, I think that you miss out on that, and that's a big part of life, is discovering new things and discovering new cultures. But that's all I got for you guys. It's been a good semester, and I wish you guys the best of luck on the rest of your finals.